Hi everyone, I'm Lucy, and today we've got Rob, who's part of our BUNAC team, and he's kindly agreed to share some of his personal summer camp memories with us. So Rob, if you could just explain the first picture for us, that'd be great.
Sure. So the first picture is of me on the end and four friends. So you might think that that fourth that we're holding is to represent a date or something, but actually the five of us all started at camp together in 2013, and this picture was then taken in 2016, which was our fourth summer. All of us together, all of us on senior leadership team as well. So we'd all gone from counsellors or specialists. And now, built our way up to be on the senior leadership team. And this is something that happens at the end of every summer. Everyone goes down to our lake on like the last night of camp, and there's each plaque has got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the last one I think is actually 10 plus. And all the campers and the staff are sort of led down to the lake in that order. And as you can see, we're also holding candles, which we end up putting into the lake. So it's like the last night of summer vibes. It's quite a sad time actually, but it's just a nice picture. And yeah, that was one of my most memorable photos from camp.
Right, and just remind us, what camp did you go to, and what sort of, were you just a general counsellor, or did you specialise in something?
So the camp I went to was called Crane Lake, which was in Massachusetts. I was a general counsellor for 2 years, and then was the unit head for 2 years as well.
Amazing, thank you. Okay, so if you just jump over to the next photos and give us a bit of an info on that one.
So the next photo, like the New Zealand rugby team.
I was just going to say, it looked like you were just saying New Zealand rather than summer camp, but.
So there's, as every camp has, I think it's safe to say every camp does it. It was during Colour War, and every morning there was like a lineup. So you'd have like a lineup every morning, or sometimes you'd have them in the afternoon as well. And this specific lineup, we decided to put something on for our generals. So again, a lot of camp lingo, but the generals are essentially 4 counsellors on the blue team, 4 counsellors on the white team that have been like selected to lead Colour War, and it was some of our really good friends that got it that year. So we thought we would like do like a haka for them. And I was at a Jewish camp, and what we essentially did was we changed all the words to just sort of link in with that. Outside of camp, it sounds ridiculous, but on the day it was quite good. Annoyingly, we didn't actually win the lineup, which I don't know why, but it was just a funny moment and that no one expected. I don't know if you can zoom in or if you can see it, but we are covered in face paint as well. So yeah, it was an interesting day.
And just because I don't know what Colour Wars is, what is a Colour War at camp?
It's nuts. Colour War is nuts is the only way to describe it. It lasts anywhere from like 3 to 5 days. It's just full of traditional competitions, and the camp is completely split into 2. You've got about all the senior staff and all past generals, judges. Everyone else is either on blue and white. There's like tug of war, there's rope burn, which is literally as it sounds, just a pit and you have to burn the rope first. There's relay races, there's basketball, there's football, there's literally everything and anything that you could think of. And it goes on for 4 or 5 days, and then the team that wins gets a plaque that goes up in our rec hall, and the rec hall is just painted in all these plaques that like I think it is about like 100 years or so. So there's a lot of history behind it.
I was going to say, so you've made history now if you win it. Go on.
Oh yeah. Like you want your name on the plaque.
You're there for before. Fabulous. Okay, and then next up we've got what looks like some pretty cool dance moves. So do you want to go over the next picture with us?
Yeah, as I said, the was a Jewish camp, and every Friday night, which was like, it was the most Jewish that it got in terms of like there was a service, there was like it was a nicer meal, but then there was also what was called a song session and dance session, which again, when you look at it from outside of camp, it's just ridiculous. But when you're in the moment and you're in camp, it's amazing. And this was my 4th year. I think this was my last year at camp. And this was just us at the background, me and one of the girls who, again, she'd been with me since we both started, also from the UK. And we just got caught midway through a dance. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It was also a Jersey night, hence why I'm in England rugby shirt, she's in an Arsenal shirt. So all the internationals always get dressed up as well. There's always the one dedicated night for that you wear like a football jersey or rugby jersey or whatever it is. And yeah, it's just again just a great photo that I like to look back on.
Nice. And then we've got another picture coming up of you, what looks like in like a hall or something. Tell us a bit more about that one.
Yeah, so that's actually a dance photo. You wouldn't believe it because the dance photo looks filthy and the other one looks quite clean. That's because the dance photo is probably towards the end of the summer and the large photo of us now was at the beginning. And that is all of the senior leadership team from one of the years that I was at camp. You've got a few different nationalities there. It doesn't fully represent like all of the people that were at camp, but you've got obviously Americans, you've got people from England, Scotland, you've got Jamaican, you've got Israelis. Like it was a really diverse group. I think even someone from the Philippines.
Nice.
So it was such a diverse group of people, and it was just so much fun to just work with those people on a daily basis. And obviously we had 2 or 3 weeks together as well before camp started. And it was my last summer, that photo, and it was just a nice way to sort of build up to it from being a general counsellor, going to senior leadership, and yeah, just having those people with you.
So how many, like, there's quite a few of you in that picture and you're all senior leaders, but how many, like, overall, how many staff did your camp have?
If you were to include literally all the staff, so that's including kitchen staff, maintenance, we're probably looking at 200 plus staff. We weren't even considered a massive camp, but we had a lot of staff. It was really well run, and like, you know, there was you had a lot of counsellors to sort of bounce off with. So like when you had like a designated group of kids, there was always like 3 or 4 counsellors, and yeah, it was just in terms of the support, it was amazing.
Just take us to the last picture that you're showing us today, Rob. That'd be great.
Sure. So the last photo, you don't go to camp unless you have a very basic sunset photo. It's one of those, if you don't get it, you didn't do it. This is actually, again, this is during Colour War, and I managed to set my GoPro up right at the back of our lake. Again, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but this is one of the last events of Colour War, which was rope burn. So there's actually going to be like a massive rope there, and then there's 2 pits just below it. And again, it's a blue and white, and it's a time where everyone at camp is dead silent, like it's part of the rules of rope burn, where everyone that's sitting there has to be dead quiet. The only people that can talk are the pit masters, which are a group of, I want to say it's like 6 or 7 of the oldest campers that do this. They're obviously supervised, but they have to essentially build a fire, build like a whole teepee, set it alight and burn the rope first, which has been soaking in water for about a week. So I mean, this can go on for hours, and unfortunately sometimes it ends in a draw because it's too windy, which did happen a couple of times whilst we were there. But it's more of the peaceful side of things, because you literally go down when it's sunlight and you literally sit there until it gets dark. Then it works out so well in terms of the timing of everything. But it's just one of those times at camp where you can just sort of sit there in silence, surrounded by everyone, and you just sort of zone out, and you just sort of realize that it's coming to the end of camp. Like you've had an amazing like 6-7 weeks. So it's a bit of an emotional time, but also like a nice time to just sort of reminisce on sort of what the summer's held.
Yeah, nice. And did you do any? Did you? You know, you did 4 years. Did you do any travelling after that? And like, are you still in contact with any of your old camp friends?
Yeah, so I did a bit of traveling. So you know, I've New York, Boston, which are the sort of the standout ones that you have to go to. But thankfully, one of the best things that I did do was, one of the counsellors who I am still friends with is actually from Puerto Rico. And he used to go to college in Boston. That's why he used to go to camp. And so 1 year after camp, a few of us flew out to Puerto Rico, which is still under the visa. It was still included. It still is now. And yeah, we were able to stay there for 4 or 5 days, which literally is like gold sand, like clear blue seas, which was unreal. Also I did Disneyland in Orlando with 4 other guys. Again, that was a bit interesting, but it's just one of those things where you really do just get lost in the summer, and you're just happy to commit to whatever.
Go with the fun at the end of it, yeah.
But I mainly travelled around the East Coast.
Yeah.
If I'd have gone back for a 5th year, probably would have done the West Coast.
Nice. Fab, Rob, thank you so much for sharing those.
You're welcome.